Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Charlie's Reviews. So, today I'm going to review this big stack of books. Um, one of the usually the last week of the month is the heaviest one for me. July has actually 5 weeks, so well, at least this July has 5 weeks, and they decided to kind of bunch everything up this week. Next week I will only be getting, oh, this week I'll be only getting two books, but 4 weeks, and that's what I got. So pretty crazy week actually for me because the books actually came in really late to my shop. Didn't show up until Friday afternoon, and man, because last week was, last Wednesday was Batman Day, and my shop actually had like an event going on, but they couldn't do it because of the delays. I mean, people were really freaking out at the shop. They were getting mad because of the delay. Apparently, most people sort of planned their whole day around Batman Day. So, I mean, they were kind of worried that they wouldn't get their, free Detective Comic number 27 and, you know, the mask. Uh, and, like, they, like, if, I mean, it's limited number of stuff, but I don't think the shop is going to, run out so fast with it. But, they were all freaking out. I only wanted my books, and I didn't go to the shop until Saturday, and I had to be in line to be able to pay for my pull list for my books, which kind of drove me mad, crazy, because that never happened before, but except for free comic book day or when the shop has their anniversary sale in February. But anyways, I had a few good books to read. In fact, I have like three were like in my three top reads. Um, Not a single one I thought was too bad, actually. But some of them were kind of weaker. So I have like three books that I really enjoyed, and you know I really don't know where to start actually with it. So I'll start with the top book. So my first top read here, Wonder Woman number 33. Two more issues before this run ends. Um, and I'll probably pick up, the Finch's issues just to check it out. But as for this issue, was amazing. You know, some pretty interesting stuff. The ending was spectacular to say the least. Pretty much, the firstborn is making his move. Finally, he sends his army to attack Paradise Island. Wonder Woman is his prisoner, but he actually wants her to sort of join him in his mad, mad quest. Uh, you know, so he apparently ends up killing her. Uh, and pretty much, sort of stabs her right here, and apparently she dies. But then at the end, she sort of rises out of the earth, like clay. So a lot of stuff, is coming, um, full circle now. Um, so, I mean, if you've been reading this book, you'll actually notice a lot of stuff is just coming back from like earlier issues. We got Orion now back. Suddenly she's made out of clay. Like at the end, she rises from the earth. You know, herself. Sort of bleeding. As she sort of, I don't know if she's dead or whatever. Doesn't really say much, but she returns. As clay. So can't wait to see how this story ends. And what an amazing run. The art by Cliff Chang and Matthew Wilson, and the colors amazing. Despite the many fill-in artists that also worked in the book, Matthew Wilson was really the star by maintaining the look and the feel of the book since it came out. Almost 3 years ago. Next up, Buffy the Vampire Slayer season 10, number 5. Uh, so I've been picking this book up as you may know. This actually ends the first, I guess, arc uh, for season 10. So another fun book. I love the cover. But another fun book. This is a really fun book. I have it's very accessible. It it does reference things from the previous series as well, and from the TV show. Uh, but really can get into it. You get to know you what is necessary. You get all the necessary information throughout the story, and pretty much, like I said, this ends its first arc, which was called New Rules, and and it just basically deals. The first arc actually just pretty much dealt with the consequences of the end of season 9, which in turn that was a consequence to season 8, which in season 8 Buffy ended all magic after defeating the big bad of season 8. In season 9, pretty much it talked about the restoration of magic, specifically because Dawn, who was magically created, without any magic, the spell that created her wasn't holding, so she began to fade. So to rescue Dawn, they had to restart magic, so they found a way to do that. But that created a problem that they have to deal with in this first arc, which is magic was brought back so abruptly that all the rules that govern magic are being written again. So certain rules have already been written. Particularly, vampires now can have similar powers to Dracula. They can turn into mist and animals, but they can also stand in the sunlight. So sunlight does not really affect them anymore. So they needed to find out why. So Sandra and Dawn go to visit Dracula. They bring him to San Francisco, where now Buffy and the Scooby Gang are hanging, where they live now. And Dracula decides to steal the Vampire, which is this huge book that actually had the rules of magic, the all that you need to know about vampires and the history of the Slayers. And if you watch the show, that book first appeared way back in the first episode of season one. Uh, so the pages were blank. Suddenly, certain rules started to appear. Uh, Dracula stole the book with the help of Xander, who was once again mesmerized by him, um, and decided to write the rules directly into the book. Big mess, uh, and they were finally able to, save Dracula actually, uh, and San Francisco from being, destroyed by, you know, magic going wrong. Uh, so very fun um, arc, actually very fun issue as well. This is actually co-written. This is actually written by Christos Gage. He's the main writer for season 10. But it's got actually had a little collaboration with actor Nicholas Brandon, who played Xander. So it's also a very Xander centric story, but very fun. And the art by Rebecca Isaac, very. I really like the art. It sort of reflects the lightheartedness of the story. Um, Next up, Superman number 33, the second issue by the team of Johns, Romit Jr., Klaus Janson, and colorist Laura Martin. I have to name her because her coloring has made the Romita art pop. You know, um, very bright colors. That's you know, um very bright colors. The art looks fantastic. Uh, I highly recommend picking up this book right now if you want to get into Superman. This is the book to check out. It's event free. Uh, Johns is starting to tell a very interesting story about this guy Ulysses uh, who we met last issue. Um, um, a sort of a different version of Superman in a sense, but he's from Earth, not from another planet. This issue has a lot of Clark Kent in it. Clark, wants to know more about Ulysses. He actually goes and asks Perry White for help, which is cool by the way. That he found you know he found a way to give Perry White a much bigger role in the story, because usually as a supporting character, he only shows up in a couple of panels from time to time, a lot of Daily Planet, but he asked Perry for help, and Perry wants Clark back in the planet because he's a great reporter, and he feels that the planet has been losing a bit of its edge, and agrees to agree and makes a deal with Clark by telling him, "I'll tell you everything I know, but you send me what you've got in this story," and the planet runs at first. Uh, Clark agrees. Ulysses shows up at the planet. Clark is trying to explain to Ulysses the purpose of having a secret identity. And I think the best part is the ending. Because unlike Clark, Clark as Superman was able to find out that Ulysses' parents are alive, and so he takes him to see them. Uh, so I mean, the ending itself is it's a touching ending. You know, I love this sequence as they made, and Clark feeling a little bit happy for him, but At the same time, so there are differences here because, Ulysses has his parents, Superman doesn't, and very cool story. The art by John Romita, it is at times does feel a little bit inconsistent. For example, there's this sequence in the opening here where you can look at Tia Lewis here, but she kind of looks kind of weird here, a little bit weird. Um, so I had the shading, it's like a little bit of a shadow there that just makes the art look a little bit off. But I do believe this is some of the best work I've seen from John Ramita in a long time, and you know one of my first uh, Spearman book actually was Spearman's number, I believe 72 with John Ramita art. So anyways, great book. I'm liking where the story is going. We really haven't met the machinist who is the villain, but we got a bit of clues there. So will be showing up soon. But yeah, this if you want to read a good Superman story, this is the book for you to pick up to give it a try. I think Johns is back on track. A little, you know, from where he was a few months ago, where we all feel that he's kind of an on and off guy. I think he's back on track with this book, so you really should check it out. The next of my next top book, these were like, my number one picks. Uh, the next one up is Aquaman number 33. This is actually the variant cover, the Batman 75 variant cover by uh, Graham Nolan. Um, Actually, my shop was a mess on Saturday, so they forgot to put this one in my pool, in my box, in my pool. So I had to ask for it, so they gave me this one. Anyway, so finally, um, so we continue with the Chimera story. Plus, and there's some aftermath with the mirror portion of the book from last issue. Now it's you know Chimera attacks Amnesty Bay. He comes, we actually see him. I don't wanna make this too long, but another great issue, another great Aquaman issue by Jeff Parker. Um, I'm loving this book. It's a little bit more traditional, I guess, than what Jeff Jones was doing, which was more of a bigger, much more epic story, sort of much more of a smaller thing, which I enjoy a lot more. There's a villain, and Aquaman's gonna is going to face him. Um I don't know what to say about this issue. I mean, I just gotta say I enjoyed it quite a bit. Um Fun issue. And yeah, apparently there's something going on with Sequix, and apparently, you know, these um people, the ones that Mira face believe that it's Aquaman and Mira's fault for the Sequix. They sort of happened a few issues ago, I believe, earlier in Jeff Parker's run, but so there's another mystery there that you know has continues to build up. Um, Great issue. Uh, a bit of a much more of a much of a issues is the Flash. Um, Finally, we learn who is the villain who's been killing off criminals using various weapons from other villains that were stolen from the evidence locker room during Forever Evil. It turns out, we finally find out it's one of the detectives involved in the capture of that gang. They find that, the criminals that are being killed were members of the same gang, uh, and uh, and that was the most exciting part. Finally we getting, to the conclusion of this very first arc, or of this arc in the book. The one that's sort of frustrating me a little bit now is the future stuff with the Flash. I'm not really. I don't know uh, when that portion is going to end. It's just been running around for a while now, and I really wish to know when you know this that portion of the story is going to end, because you know next issue pretty much will end the main story. Um, but I'm still sticking with the Flash. No major events involving the Flash, just some really nice, you know, stories. Nothing, mind blowing as well. Unlike Green Lantern, which has become a huge event book every month. Finally, All Star Western. Uh, Sad to see this book go, but I kind of understand, that, both Palmieri and Gray have been working on Jonah Hex for so long now, but since around 2000, for almost 10 years already. They've been working on the character. I think it's almost 10 years, I don't know. But they've been working on it for a long time now. And yeah, it's clear that there are, running out of steam. Um, you know, After they send hacks to the future, I really felt that a lot of what made this book and the Junior Hex book stand out is sort of diminishing. Just feels like they've come to an end of the stories they wanted to tell. But the one thing I love, there are two things I loved about both the last Jonah Hex book and also Western, was that it was probably the only non-superhero book that uh, DC put out that lasted as long as it did. Um, I also love the fact that it was very politically incorrect, at least for our standards. Our standards. The whole time we spent, in the future, sort of show that contrast between the way people thought, the way people were 200 years ago to where we are now, and how much we've progressed in some ways, and how much we are the same, as well as how much progress has affected our lives in a sort of negative way as well. That issue I mentioned where Jonah, I believe he's talking to Superman, tells him that food tastes funny, the air smells different than from his time. Um, but just fun, a little bit violent at times, and for a long time, you know, from the last the Jonah Hex book, and that was the book a lot of artists wanted to work on, and because it was so unique and so different. But yeah, I can understand that after so long in investing themselves in this character, there would be a time where it would just come to an end. And I don't think anybody else would really wanna give Jonah Hex a try. You know. So anyways, I really enjoyed this issue. It wasn't as great as past issues, but it still had a little bit of that hex feel to it. Really don't know what to say except the fact that this issue sort of picked up where the last issue ended. Hex and Total Block are kidnapped by a bunch of outlaws. They're able to um, handle them like they always do, but we also deal with the fact that they're looking for the guy that actually set them up. A kid want We also get the sort of a kid who wants the guy because there's a bounty on his head, and that bounty would have helped them get the money for some medicine because the water was bad and people died. Hex is able to get the bounty and get the medicine, but by the time he arrived at town, everybody died except for the priest who was also sick, and Hex just gave him the medicine, told him, what he should do, with the pills and to leave town. But that's pretty much what actually happened in this issue. Somewhat, it's a little bit bloody at times, as it always is. But nothing that really stands out like before. It really felt like this work is really coming to a close. I think next month is the last issue comes out. So anyways, and I won't be reviewing Detective Comics number 27, just want to review. So anyways, those are the books for this week. Um, and uh, and and this or from last week actually. So anyways, um, this week I have to get two books, the Aquaman Annual and Justice League, which I'm still enjoying so far. I was having my doubts when the whole Luther thing got announced, but for some reason we haven't gotten there yet. So, anyways, I'll sign off as I always do with these words of wisdom. Until next time, keep smiling.